welcome back, everyone, for our first plenary symposium focusing on the childhood tuberculosis. Our speaker is a medical specialist 4 of the National TB Program and the Division Chief of the Disease Prevention and Control Bureau of the Department of Health. To talk on TB law, comprehensive plan to eliminate TB, friends, let us all welcome Dr. Rosalyn G. Villason.
Good afternoon, and well, this is a jam-packed session, and this is going to be very beneficial for us in disseminating the so-called TB law. How many of you have heard about the TB law? Batas para sa TB. Oh. Then I guess this is really a very fortunate time for the Department of Health to really disseminate what the law is all about. So thank you to the organizers for inviting the department and for giving us this opportunity. So currently, we have the so-called Republic Act number 10767, known as the Comprehensive Tuberculosis Elimination Plan Act of 2016. By the way, before I proceed, the first two presenters were really very technical in terms of espousing the different pediatric diseases. For my talk, medyo wordy po because it's really going to talk about legislation. And it seems to be a bit awkward that we're talking here for a conference, and yet here we are discussing on legislation. But I think that is already the way forward, that for us to have very good programs to be sustained, a law such as the TB law needs to be already put in place for us to see that we're going to implement the TB program to a longer time and therefore be able to really what we call end TB, or what we adopt as the end TB strategy. Okay, so the objectives of my presentation, first is to inform relevant organizations on this so-called Republic Act. So the number is 10767, entitled Comprehensive Tuberculosis Elimination Plan Act of 2016, and to highlight the provisions of the said law, because as they say, no one is excused if you don't know the law. So just a bit of history, how it came about. It started when then Representative or Congresswoman Angelina Tan, who is the 4th District Quezon Congresswoman, filed a bill which was numbered as House Bill 5042, and it got approved for its third and final reading on October 29, 2014. But sa House lang po yun, it's at the lower house. So it needs to be elevated to the Senate level. And this one, our strong partner then was Senator T.G. Gingona, who co-authored by Senator Villar, approved also the third reading at the Senate bill. And this now became a Senate bill number 2653 on January 18, 2016. So you can see the process of lawmaking, that it really takes years before it becomes a law. And it was only April 26 that it was signed as a law by then President Aquino. So really in time before the transition in the administration, we already have a law as early as April 2016. So that's how it came about. And by the way, it's also an advantage because Congresswoman Tan, who is the primary author of the law, is a doctor herself, and she was very passionate about in passing a TB law because two of her closest families, her mom and her brother, passed away because of tuberculosis. So I think that's the advantage if you have this kind of history. So again, just to emphasize, the Republic Act is 10767. So I'll go section by section just to orient the audience what the law is all about and what it contains and what are the provisions in it. So the title, which is Section 1, is entitled Comprehensive Tuberculosis Elimination Plan Act of 2016. So you can already see the striking word here, which is eliminating TB. So we're not just simply preventing, controlling, we're already into the advent of eliminating TB. And then Section 2 calls for the declaration of policy, which are the statements of the state, wherein it's mandated to integrate and do a comprehensive approach of health development, particularly on TB control and prevention and elimination, and therefore it needs to increase its investments for TB control, and it has to adopt it in a multi-sectoral fashion. So I think having a law would allow us already as program managers and as public health workers that indeed the government should invest on this for us to implement such provisions. Section 3 of the law also looks into the definition of terms. Of course, it has to define what tuberculosis is, that is something infectious, but it's curable. And it pertains to the Philippine Plan of Action to Eliminate TB, which is basically the National TB Control Program. Section 4. Section 4 already states what the plan is. Currently, right now, the National TB Program has this so-called Philippine Plan of Action to control TB. With the provision of the law, we have to restate that control plan to become now a Philippine Plan of Action to eliminate tuberculosis. So that's really now the direction of the program, that we're now transitioning from what we call as a simple control plan to an intensified control TB program, and now we're really gearing into NTB, and therefore we have to adopt elimination strategies for us to be able to reach that endpoint. And because of that, the Secretary of Health or the Department of Health, through that Philippine Plan of Action, should consider the following. That plan should contain targets and strategies, prevention, diagnostics, treatment, care, and support. So it just goes beyond diagnosing and treatment. It also looks into prevention, appropriate technologies to diagnose and treat. I think we're adopting these technologies in the pipeline, and even the modern treatments, like I've heard Dr. Lisa earlier on spouses on the fixed dose combination for children, which, by the way, is already now. We have started procuring it, and it's part of our program to use really the fixed dose combination for this year and onwards. And then it also looks into linkages with local and international organizations for partnerships. So again, we still believe in the idea that it's not just government alone, but it has to be in the spirit of partnership, whether it's local or international organizations. And of course, the purpose of having review systems and monitoring for us to generate more evidence. And quite important is the last bullet in that provision, which states that the Secretary of Health shall consider continuous anti-TB services even during and after natural or man-made disasters. I think this is very important because right now we're really faced with so much catastrophes. The one we had in Haiyan before, the Yolanda disaster, that really taught us a lesson that we have to build our health systems in a resilient fashion, because this is how we need to ensure that the continuity of services are still built into, in spite of the fact that we are affected by such calamities. Okay, Section 5. Now, Section 5 looks into what will be the critical committees or groups that need to help the government in implementing the TB law. And here, quite specifically, we're referring to a national coordinating committee. So, sa national level po yun. And then the regional coordinating committees. Committees, because we need to consider the 18 regions that we have in our country. Given our topography and our geographical design, the national cannot really do it by itself. It has to really work with linkages with the different 18 committees, and therefore regional coordinating committees need to be strengthened at this respect at the different respective regions of the country. They will serve as our arm for program operations, meaning to say that whatever will be disseminated by the National Committee needs to be filtered to these 18 regions for them to eventually roll it out to the local government units, provinces, cities, and municipalities, because right now that is still the design of our healthcare system, that we are operating on a devolved or in a decentralized system. Okay, so Section 6 is very interesting because the law still spouses on research, demonstration projects, education, and training. So the Department of Health, through the Secretary of Health, shall directly or through grants to public or non-profit entities would be basically still considering the conduct of both basic and clinical researches, look into the installation of demonstration sites, provide information campaigns, develop the clinical skills of our practitioners, of our healthcare providers, Support for model centers. The idea of having model centers is because we'd like to see its replicability across the country. And right now, we're toying into the idea of having really a so-called model for a TB-free island. So hopefully, as we go for elimination, we will be able to model that indeed TB elimination can be accomplished, and we're modeling it in this so-called TB-free island. And lastly, the research and demonstration project should also consider partnership with local and foreign organizations, not just for funding, but eventually also needed is the technical support. So while the law is so legislative in nature, still it espouses on what the key elements of a national TB program should look like. Section 7 looks into the strengthening of our regional centers for health development. As I mentioned, these are the different regional offices in the country in the provision of health services to eliminate TB. And clearly, in this section, these are the things that needs to be observed as we implement the law. That the Department of Health, through the regional health offices, should be providing the following. I highlighted or color-fonted the words free because we are really bent into providing free laboratory services, especially at public facilities, primarily the DOH retained hospitals. Provide free drugs to our local health centers, free anti-TB drugs. Train the public on the prevention of spread of disease. So while we all know DOTS, DOTS to be our control measure, overarching measure for control, we'd like to go beyond simply diagnosing and treatment. We'd like to consider also the idea of preventing TB in terms of providing preventive interventions, such as the use of modern technologies to address LTBI. And then we're also looking into ensuring proper monitoring of cases in the country. So while we'd like to monitor our services, we would like also to consider monitoring specifically the cases. So basically, what the program should look into and what the law would like to espouse is still the provision of free TB services, diagnostics, treatment, and even preventive measures. Section 8. Now, the following sections would dwell on the different agencies, government at that needs also to be strengthened and needs also to look into their investments when it comes to adopting or implementing the TB law. The first national agency that needs to be technically and financially supported is the Section 8, which calls on education programs. In here, it's specifically the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, that shall be encouraged, particularly because their domains are in the field of medicine, nursing, medical technology, allied health institutions, for them to intensify information and education programs, not only for the purpose or for the benefit of the students, but even equally important for the benefit of the practicing providers. So yung pong CHED, we will be closely working with CHED because CHED is the one overseeing these different institutions of medicine, nursing, etc., for us to be able to really inculcate in them as early as now the provisions of the TB law. Section 9, on the other hand, is still on education, but this time it will be the basic education entity, and therefore that is the Department of Education. Yung po kasing CHED sa mga advanced fields yan, ang Department of Education is the one in charge of our public elementary and high school. So there is now really the direction that while the TB program is there, it looks into provision of services. We'd like to see that in the future generation of our citizenry, even in the educational part, as early as during their basic years or elementary years, the law is already being inputted into their curriculum. So with that, the Department of Education will have to closely work with the Department of Health in terms really of how to include the dissemination of the information regarding TB law into its basic curricula. Section 10. Section 10 is more really on the information dissemination through media campaigns. And in here, the Philippine Information Agency, which is the government's information agency, will need to be strongly tapped for this purpose. So it says in that section that the PIA shall continue to launch media campaigns, both for TB treatment, controlled treatment, and management, using all forms of multimedia and even other electronic means of communication. So they need to go beyond the simple prints, the simple tri-media, but should also consider all other forms of media, quad media, and the like, for them to help the Department of Health disseminate the TB law. What is also nice to see in that law is the section that, the second bullet, in which the media campaign shall include materials that would discourage the general public from spitting in public places and exhibiting unhygienic behavior. Do you think this is really necessary? We do believe so. Kasi sa ngayon, what we're seeing in our campaigns, yung huling campaign ng TB is about a barking dog, no? It's being equated with the barking dog, the cough of TB. But what's also important is really the preventive part in terms of the importance of hygiene, no? We haven't really seen campaigns depicting the public should be really be hygienic enough in trying during spitting. The public should be discouraged really in spitting anywhere, everywhere, just like what we've seen in other countries, because this is really very unhygienic and unsightly, and it also causes a spread for TB disease. So we need not necessarily focus on the cough for TB, although cough is the primary symptom, but more importantly, also the aspects of hygiene and sanitation. So I think PIA should work on that very closely. Section 11, so I've dealt with the technical aspects of the law, the educational part, the campaign part. So let's look into the regulation on the sale and use of anti-TB drugs. So the law is a bit really holistic because it also looks into the use of these anti-TB drugs. But at this point, it is the FDA or the Food and Drug that shall be strengthened in terms of implementing the so-called no prescription, no anti-TB drugs. This has been long before, but I think it still needs to be really strengthened deeply because we're still seeing consumers being able to buy anti-TB drugs even without prescription. So the way forward for them is to probably instigate or put into regulatory measures for them really to say that there is no sale, there's the regulation on the sale of these anti-TB drugs, given that we also have new anti-TB drugs already in the market, or already in the pipeline, so to speak. 12. Section 12 looks into a very important section, especially for our private partners, because it looks into the notification of TB cases. While we have the TB data, the TB data would be able to capture only those that are being reported or notified, whether it's public or private. But because we now have a law, this would really compel everyone, each one of us, to really notify our cases to the proper authorities, whether that's the Department of Health or the local health authorities. And it's clearly stated here that all public and private health centers, hospitals, and facilities shall observe the National Protocol on TB Management and shall notify the DOH of the cases that they have seen. So this is one way for us to be able to improve our notification or our registration or really knowing the true burden of the TB disease if we have this so-called mandatory notification. And for us to have this such a thing, it is need to be clearly stated in the law. Section 13 talks about the PhilHealth TB package. Well, I think we all know what the TB health package is all about, the one that was developed by the PhilHealth, and it only stresses the fact that it shall increase the number of accredited DOTS facilities, go beyond public, still consider a lot of facilities to be accredited for it to be able to avail the TB health package. 14, it's about the reporting that has to be made, which is an accountability that has to be made by the Secretary of Health through annual reports to both the Committees on Health and the House Representatives and that of the Senate. Siyempre po, if the government made a lot of investments in implementing such law, then a feedback of what has been used in terms of the spending of the investments should be made equally important by a way of feedback to our Committee on Health and the Senate. And this is going to be the role of the Department of Health. Lastly is the section 15, which speaks of appropriation. So in any law, for it to be implemented, it should be equally supported by the right appropriations. And clearly, it says here that the law should be providing appropriations to the Department of Health, the DepEd, CHED, and the PIA, which are the 4 key national agencies that will move forward the implementation of our TB law. So hopefully with this, even our partner agencies, DepEd, CHED, and PIA, would observe that there will be increased investments for them to be able also to undertake the mandates of this law. 16 is the implementing rules and regulations. Well, just like any other law, a law is a law. These are just policy statements, mother statements, but for it to be moved forward, it should be supported by implementing rules and guidelines, or what we call as IRR. Right now, we are developing the IRR, and it's almost finished. Hopefully, it will be signed pretty soon in time for the launch of the Philippine TB Caucus, or at least, rather, for the World TB Day come March 24. And there, in the IRR, that's where you'll find the guidelines on how to operationalize the implementation of the TB law. Yung pinakita ko po, these are just the policy statements. These are the teeth, I would say, of the law. But the way to implement it, it has to be supported by this IRR. So the last section of the law is on the miscellaneous provisions, such as the separability clause, repealing clause. If it needs to be amended or revised, then the law still sticks as it is, and it's only the provisions that needs to be changed, if ever. And then the effectivity should have started 15 days after its issuance, once it's published in the official gazette of the Department of Health and even of the country. But right now, we're still working on this, and we'll be looking into that once the IRR will be signed. So I hope that with all these things, everybody is now knowledgeable that there is this TB law. What's the number po? RA number 10767. Madali naman siyang tanda, no? So that everywhere we go, and even in our children, as they grow old, they will be knowledgeable that, sometime in 2016, the Philippines issued a law, and that's the TB law, and now I have a mechanism, or I have a legal framework for me to really implement and be able to eliminate TB in my lifetime. They say it's not possible to eliminate TB in our lifetime, but our counter to that is, therefore, we have to eliminate TB in the lifetime of our future generation. And these are our children. Maraming salamat po. Thank you.